healthy and in a good state of mind in the current situation. I see that Marta has a face mask.
Yes, together,
yeah,
no problem, no
oh, you're
problem.
together. Yeah. Some of you know the Lightning Lab sessions. These are basically knowledge sharing sessions where one of the cities give a presentation about what they're doing in the field of nature-based solutions. So it's a city-to-city learning session, and we encourage that. We think it's really worthy to do it because other cities could see what you are doing. So it helps to share the information and knowledge about nature-based solutions. So my name is Jura Jurik. I think most of you know me. I'm working for GIB Foundation in Switzerland, and this session is organized by the Ecton NBS project, which is a growing city network of different cities in Europe who want to mainstream nature-based solutions for climate change adaptation. Today, I'm very excited about the presentation because it's kind of this visionary solution, you know, this huge forest around the city. And it's a pleasure to introduce Emilio Martinez, who is technical advisor at the General Management of Strategic Planning of the city of Madrid. And Emilio will present the Metropolitan Forest Project of Madrid. I did some research. It's a forest that should be over 75 kilometers long, green forest ring around the city, helping to remedy some of the negative effects of urban sprawl, such as heat island effect, poor air quality, and loss of biodiversity. So we're really looking forward to hear more, Emilio. I just say that this session will be recorded, so I hope it's okay for you. Yes, and Emilio, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Good morning. We are, Marta and I, we are very happy to participate in this webinar. And thank you very much for all the organization of the Lighting Lab. And so I'm going to show you a little presentation about Metropolitan Wood or Metropolitan Forest. In Spanish, es el Bosque Metropolitano. Metropolitan Wood is a project of the city of Madrid and is inscribed in a global strategy. We call this strategy deep demonstration. Madrid is one of the 10 cities in Europe that aims to make the city a place carbon-free in 10 years. The European community want to have all the cities, all the green cities carbon-free, but in a period of time longest, not in 10 years. In 10 years is only a challenge for 10 cities, and Madrid is one of there. The project want to create a green belt around the city, 75 kilometers long, with more than 2.3 thousand hectares of new forest. The objectives are in the slide to mitigate the heat island, enrich the biodiversity, improve the quality of the air, and to get the city more resilient against the climate change challenges, as well as improve the social cohesion and quality of life. Madrid in this moment is in a good position in the ranking of national cities in terms of square meters of green areas by inhabitant. We are in the 5th position. It's true that we include 1 minute. I'm going to take. Do you see the signal? Okay. On north, we have a great natural reserve. It's called Monte del Pardo. And so this project wants to complete the Monte del Pardo with this part and connect with the all green belt in around the whole city. You can see here the heat island. It's very expressive, this image. We have hard summers in these lands, 38 degrees, even 40. here is a project on multi-scale or simply double scale. We have a long scale with the creation of this grid surface of green areas, and also these other little pieces. They are little plots inside the city that we want to recover as places for urban agriculture, for local green areas. Okay, here you can see the position of the city. The city is the brown zone in relation with the system of natural parks, regional parks in the region of Madrid. And here start with the pieces of this Metropolitan wood. One of the main pieces is around the river, the Manzanares River. The river entry by here, pass through the Monte del Pardo, and is the axe around. We have a lot of green parks, great parks like Casa de Campo. Here is the part of Madrid Rio. There's a very known project in the city. In the thin part of this connection, and we have the lineal park of the Manzanares here. We need to compete with this final piece here in this axe. In the east, the situation is different. We need to create like a stream of existing and new parks in
we lost
under the concept of green infrastructure. No?
I think now it's fine. Yeah, we
It's
lost
fine,
no?
Emilio. Yeah.
Okay,
It's fine.
perfect, Emilio. Continue, please.
Okay, the concept is the green infrastructure. So a stream of parks, of medium size, interconnected, and we rest in the east part. This other part, this the southwest, and so I think is. You see, okay, okay. ¿Se ve bien? No. Okay. And in southeast, we have a system of new quarters. This is all this piece. Is a prevision of the current master plan in the city, the general plan from 1997. And so this is a huge development for 6 new quarters. The total is 200,000 dwellings. And so this is, for example, is finished, is with the people living here. Is a similar situation, this other, El Cañaveral, that this is under construction, but the rest, these cerros, Aijones and Berrocales, are in different situation of developing the planning and management plans. And we have here the huge, the greatest of this system is Valdecarros with 40,000 dwellings. And so we want to negotiate with the landowners and promoters of this operation for achieve a more compact city and deliver more space for the green belt in this part. Okay. One more. In the west part, we have a little piece here, but it's very important strategically because this part connects with the great regional park of Manzanares. Okay, and in grid lines, these are the parts of the Metropolitan wood. This is a project with 2 different speeds. We have a low speed and high speed. In this image, you see the low speed. It's the preparation of a director plan, and we divided the territory in 5 sectors. In these sectors, we launched a call of proposals, an international call of proposals, and this call was launched in July, and now it's finished. We went to see the development of this call. We received 33 proposals. Okay, one more, and this is the high speed. We have in this moment 13 plots for public property, and another 4 private properties, but we have an agreement with the owners, and so it's possible to start the works right now. In fact, the numbers 1 and 10 are started already, are in works, and this is the first phase in this project. Is very important because the people can see the progress of the works. Don't need to wait for a medium long term. This is a short term. Okay. Here is the ecosystem of the project. As you see, we have four areas, municipal areas, engaged in this project. 1 minute. For this. And this is the 4 areas in blue color, and we need the collaboration of citizens and their association, and also the professional colleges, university, landowners, different partnerships, and companies of real estates, and others. We have companies of industrial activities that can, for example, be the origin of pollution. And according to the Spanish law, they need to pay a compensation, and they can pay the compensation supporting this project. This is like a schedule. 1 minute. As you see, the call of proposals was launched in July and finished at the end of September. 33 proposals, and we have the plan to join the jury, a very long jury with participation of all the stakeholders, and for the early December. We think that we need to elaborate the projects, the projects in detail along 2020, 21, 22, and we are preparing a new model of management based in a public company and the collaboration with private institutions on behalf of sponsorships or agreements, or creating an innovative entity of collaboration, public-private collaboration. It's crucial, the participation of the citizen, as I told you, and surely we need to introduce changes in the planning regulation in different zones. This is our work for these next years. And so, well, this is the last image. I have more than this, and in the left part you have the great data of the operation. More than 2 million of new trees, 2.3 thousand hectares of new forest, and 300 hectares with these little vacant plots inside the city for the agriculture for neighbors. Finally, we want to make Madrid a more sustainable, resilient, and efficient city. And we think that this project is very important in this strategy to make our city more sustainable. Okay, this is my presentation. Thank you so much. And we are ready for hear your questions. Okay.
Thank you, Emilio, very much for a very beautiful presentation and explaining the project. Let's start a Q&A session. I would really like to see you all if you can turn on your cameras and maybe ask questions.
A minute.
So yeah, let's do it. Whoever wants to ask questions, we can start.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, maybe then I can start. My question would be, Emilio, is this forest going to be planted also with the local community, or will it be planted by professionals, by the local maybe gardening company? So how is this going to work?
I think at first is the provision is it will be planted by professionals. Maybe in certain points we can ask for the collaboration, but in general is with professionals of this work.
And will it be also edible forest?
We will do some actions with some schools to have visits with kids and plant trees or bushes in some points, but the main surface will be planted by professionals.
I also have a question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask about the orchards, the urban orchards, the huertos urbanos.
Yes.
How will you involve? Because at the moment in Madrid, we have a big problem with the COVID, with food banks, and particularly in the kind of more deprived parts of the city. So how will you somehow use these interventions, particularly the orchards, as a way to develop social cohesion and even just provide the scale probably is not that big, but there's also evidence from a study that was done by the Polytechnic that it can also, interaction with the urban orchards can also increase social cohesion because of the interaction of the community, which is going to be critical after because it's going to be a huge economic crisis. So how will you link the environmental intervention with the social, building the social cohesion in these areas, which will be very needed?
Can I?
If you want, I can help you with this question. Maybe it's not so regarding with the Metropolitan Forest. It's more regarding with the local projects in the neighborhoods. And so we are in a very early stage because now we are preparing an urban orchard oriented for the training of the population. We are working with a municipal employment agency, and we are trying to launch a training program for people of the districts, maybe in the next year. And now we are preparing these pilot projects, and in the medium term, maybe in 2 years, we have the opportunity to launch other public properties to make a concession for all those populations that have started with us with this training project. This is mainly our program, but nowadays we are in a very early stage preparing of this urban orchard oriented only to training.
Yes, and I want to add, well, thank you, Emilio, Marta, and Silvia. In this work, well, Technical University of Madrid and City Hall worked together, and the last July we presented a technical conference of Metropolitan Forest contest in the climatic and territorial and social key, to give more complexity to this challenge, new perspective, when we're open, such as positive narratives about nature in the city, the benefits of the nature as a protector of health and biodiversity. And well, we had 17 specialists and experts from the City Hall, private companies, city groups, third sector academia. The second day allowed collective intelligence through online group workshops, with a total around 800 people registered, working together to contribute in this innovative process, to give, like I said, a narrative and yes, a complex narrative to all project.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Manuel, because we are very in the early beginning of the project. So maybe we are nowadays with the first project working with companies, but we need to change the approach of the project and have a more social approach. And we need to involve the population, citizens, and also private companies with partnerships with them and with university. The project should be more complex than nowadays, but we are in the very early beginning because our politicians are very nervous when the months are going on, and we are not starting with a specific project, but this is a very big project with in a long term, medium long term for the city. And so I think the collaboration with the university should be very important to change this approach. And also when we have the specific project coming from this international contest, we need to work in making the project more complex that in comparison with what we are working nowadays with the first projects.
Thank you.
Yes, and we prepared a guide, because the views proposed by each speaker have been summarized and are reflected in illustrated guide, which can be used beyond the contest, as a manual to rethink the relationship between the city of Madrid and its green infrastructure. So I share with you the link of this guide. We have this in English, so it will be a contribution of us.
Thank you, Manuel, for sharing. Indeed. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Harris from Cyprus Energy Agency. Thank you, Emilio, for this wonderful presentation. One question, did you consider to adopt any kind of solutions coming from the citizens or the citizens around the forest that you will implement? Thank you.
Emilio, you are muted. Could you please unmute yourself? Thank you.
We need to hear what the citizens want to say about it, because we think that they are great knowledge. And so I think that we have the idea to have a great public participation until the first phases, the phases of reflections. And we are in this work in this moment. We are happy to hear the opinions of the neighbors. Okay.
I think there's a strong social focus in this group. Other questions?
No. Okay, more
I have another one.
Yeah, I have also a few, but I want to.
Biodiversity, which I think is quite critical as well for cities. How will you introduce a biodiverse forest in the city? Because one of the main elements with biodiversity is well, I mean, I'm not a forest engineer, but from what I've heard, is the type of species that you introduce. And of course, there's also evidence that this linked to health, both good and bad, from the species that you introduce for asthma. So, you know, so forests are complex things themselves. You know, it's not as simple as I plant a tree. So I think the two questions for me is, how do you think about biodiversity in the forest and the health considerations? And I think the other thing that we've learned, which I think is most people forget, is the maintenance of the forest, which I think is also, you know, how was these are long-term investments in the green infrastructure, and Madrid is a fairly dry city, so water is going to be an issue for these trees, and the climate change is more likely that, you know, we will have less rain. So, you know, how do you consider all these factors to make this green investment resilient into the long term?
¿Quieres que conteste ella?
Sí, sí, quieres.
Bueno,
1 minute, is Monica here. Monica.
Hello.
all these things we are now studying about all these things, and in the I think that Emilio talked about the competition that we have for the forest, and in the competition there was we did like a list of the different species that were like more available or more better to get into the south or the north of Madrid, because depending on where the forest has been it's going to be developed, it will depend on that. And there was also an important issue about water and the use of water in the project, I mean in the idea of the project. So it's one of the things that we are now valuing about the different proposals that we are having in the competitions. But yes, that's an issue, a very important issue, and we are aware of the importance of that. We think that the water strategy for the forest it's a very important one, because that will affect the, I think that this is a Spanglish word, but the maintenance of the forest. So that's a very, very important thing. I don't know. I think that it was in one of the last slides that we had, that's in the model of the thinking of the maintenance of the forest in general.
Okay, and also what we are looking for the.
Yes, Silvia.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
We can now. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's very important in our context to think that this is not a park, an urban park. This is a forest. We have always communicate to all the potential the teams that are nowadays competing in the contest, that it's very important to have an environmental approach, because this is not an urban park. It should be a forest, a Mediterranean forest, and it's very important that we attend at the situation of the climate here in Madrid, of the composition of the soils, of the available of water, and what we are looking in the proposals that we are receiving for the different teams is that they have understood the complexity of the projects. They have joined as professionals of different disciplines, and the environmental approach, I think it should be one of the key questions to be the winner of the contest. And as Monica has told us before, the strategy of the water is one of the most important strategy for the southeast of our municipality, because there are very poor soils, and so we need to have a strategy to increase the fertility and to have the possibility to have an adequate biodiversity. We are not working in the north of Europe. We are here in Spain, and the situation is quite different. And so when we saw those beautiful pictures of a lot of big trees, we think, oh, that's not a team that have understood the situation of Madrid. And we have good proposals that think that the Mediterranean forest is something different. It's there are another also landscape. The landscape should be appropriate for our situation here in Madrid. And so it's also something that we need to work with the environmental department, the parks department in Madrid, because we are trying to explain them that it's not an urban park. We don't need to have the composition that they have in other parts of our city.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Sylvia,
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia, maybe one question on how other cities could use perhaps your experience. So there may be two questions. One is, how did you identify the right spots for the forest? I guess there were some patches of green spaces that you tried to connect. But what do you think is important if I'm a different city? I don't know, I can be Prague or other city, and I would like to also implement such forest. So what do you think is key to consider? How can I start? How can I start planning this kind of project? What would you recommend me?
Okay, we start studying the regional parks in the municipality surrounding our municipality. The communication and the contact with the regional parks, it should be one of the more key questions when we are planning this forest. And also the great urban parks. And we are also very conditioned by the urban planning. We need to study very, very carefully all the urban planning, the neighborhoods that already exist, but also that were planned in the future. And so this forest should be maybe a forest that should be developed in 20 years, because not all the neighborhoods and all the urban developments are starting in the same time. And so we need to work in the places that nowadays are available to make an action and to make our reforestation, but also we need to make the conditions for the future developing of the urban plans in Madrid. And so I think it's a combination of the situation of the city, the situation of the environmental, the regional parks in a regional context, and to study very, very carefully the urban plans for the city, and also the other municipalities that are in contact with the city of Madrid. We need to work together with other cities.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? We have 5 minutes more if there are any questions. Ellen, I'm sure you have one more question.
Well, I mean, I'm from Madrid. Well, I don't live in Madrid anymore, but I'm a Madrid born and bred. I now live outside.
We know that.
But I think I had one more question. Yes, because I think I'm just thinking of the current situation is really, you know, I think it's also really hitting the cities, particularly because you're at the forefront of seeing the situations. So for me, the one just comes to my mind, if the forest was now up and running, I'm thinking of education and schools and outside schools, you know, the potential that could be also particularly, again, in the private areas where we know that and I think, again, it was a study that was done by the Technical University of Madrid, and I think a hospital in Madrid, in the Infanta Leonor, where they identified that there was much less green area for the deprived parts of the population. So I mean, we collaborate with a cultural house in the south of Madrid in the Casa San Cristobal, and they're really experiencing really dramatic situations. Also, the digital divide for children in terms of access to computers. So I'm just thinking it's an opportunity also to rethink education, and for me, of course, nature is a great teacher. So how could that also be incorporated, even thinking into the long term? I mean, I think our educational system is completely broken as well. Thankfully, maybe we will learn something from this. How again can you bring nature into the, schools, or the other way around, the schools into nature? I think to me that would be really, really interesting as well as part of the project. I mean, I think the training that you said is fantastic, for future careers, huge opportunity, but also for education lower down. I'm thinking of school children and institutos, where, because also this part of Madrid, as you know, is also where the young people is the growing part of Madrid, is where the youngest people, are in our city. So, and also very multicultural. So this is going to be, it could be again a cohesion element for the city. So.
Yes, we think that it's a very important question of the forest, but we need to have more support of other areas, and we are really a very little team, and so I think it's a very big project only to do it in an urban planning area. I think this should be changed. I think this, when we study the Vitoria project of the Green Belt, they have a specific center for education, for investigation, to work to sponsorship with other companies, also with collaboration with the university and research centers. I think this is one of the most important things that we need to work in future, is to make an organization on a center that can manage all this complexity and in other questions of social cohesion, education for children. And so we think that the different parts of the forest, we are there are some reserve soils or places, sites that are specific for urban facilities, educational facilities, environmental facilities. So it's not only a reforestation project. It's this part of the project is also very important, to think about how can we attract the population of these neighborhoods to make something in these places. And there are a lot of opportunities for leisure, for education, for sport, for health. And this should be, this social part of the project, it's very important, and we need to have the support of other areas, the university, research centers, the society. And so this is because we need some office, some specific board to manage the project. We think this is very important questions to be aware. Also, the politicians start with a big project, the Metropolitan Forest for Madrid. That's beautiful, but we think, how can we manage in the medium term all this project that is too big only to do it with the approach only of the urban planning. There are other approaches that should be working together to make this project possible, I think.
I mean, on a positive note, I think I'm really proud that a city like Madrid is doing this project. I mean, that goes without saying. I think it's really positive news. So I think, but I think, as you're right, maybe it is about now bringing more people. I mean, I think it's really good with the technical university, but I think it probably will become a city project, because it's the kind of thing that now people need. So I think hopefully.
Okay.
But it's ambitious.
It's ambitious, but we can learn from other experience of other cities that have worked in a specific way. And so we are not the first city that are planning this situation. In Spain, Vitoria is a very good example, but also in other cities, like Stockholm or Berlin or other London have made such projects, and the legal part and also the management of the project, we can learn a lot of these cities, I think.
I think that's great, because Silvia, you have formulated a need. So if anyone here can perhaps support Madrid with this kind of social element, or you have some suggestions, so of course, please feel free to connect. I'm looking at the time. I think we need to close. So thank you very much, Emilio, and to the team for an amazing presentation. And we'll have fingers crossed, so everything is going well with the forest. See you, I guess, in 2 weeks. We are planning another Lightning Lab session. We will send you more information soon. So hope to see you then as well. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Jura. Bye, Andre.
Bye, Elena. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye, Elena.
Adiós, Emilio.
Adiós, Elena. Yo creo que bien salir de la reunión.